Welcome back to another episode. Oh, welcome back to another episode of The Alliance with myself, Alicia Solomon, and Megan Hines, where we discuss everything the challenge. We are back to discuss episodes 3 and 4 of the Challenge USA on CBS and Paramount Plus. These next two episodes, we had a little clue going on in between in terms of Survivor and Big Brother coming together against the Challenge Vets once again, and also just a lot of sassiness from a couple of gentlemen, which is par the course for these two gentlemen, to be honest, because they're sassy. And this is a sassy man apocalypse, as we all know. But it was honestly just funny to see how one person in particular was not with the shits and she was standing her ground, which I absolutely respect and appreciate after dealing with these two gentlemen on TV for the last 5 years, I would say.
That was an amazing intro, I will say.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
It's all right here. It's all
Off
mental.
them.
Yep.
Yes. Not only were men being sassy, but we had people, women, just not reading the room and being on islands by themselves. As we start the first of these episodes, in episode 3, we come back and the villain we love to hate, Tori, is crying at Amanda about Amanda voting for her into the hopper. And Amanda's like, I'm not your fake friend. I'm sorry. They have a screaming match back and forth, and it's very amusing to the CBS people. Once again, they have been entertained.
It's edited down, of course. You don't even really get to hear the kind of meat and potatoes of the argument, but it's Amanda and Tori, so we can already kind of put it together to see what they were arguing about. But I think just in Tori's mind, even though they're not quote unquote friends, she expects Amanda to have some loyalty to her because of the challenge vets only being a couple of them and they just lost John A. But I think Amanda is like, listen, I don't really care what vet you are. I don't like you. Like, I'm not going to support you. I hate you. I don't want you to win. And she's standing on that, and which I can totally respect. And Tori just does not seem to get that through that thick skull of hers, that even though they're on the same quote unquote alliance, they're not aligned. Like, so she needs to just move on and get over it.
This is the theme, I think, for these two episodes. Build a bridge and get over it. Because they were harping on things and like, listen, hey, just let it go. And also, meanwhile, like they were having their argument, the Secret Garden Alliance, comprised of Desi, Chanel, Michaela, Tiffany, and Alyssa L and Alyssa S. They were listening next door and just having a good laugh. And also just like, hey, see, they're shaking their boots right now, and we love it.
I don't like the name Secret Garden. Like, who came up with that? I think that's kind of lame. But I mean, in regards to some of the people actually being in the alliance, like the both Alyssas, just because they're in proximity with one another, they're mating. But I kind of wish it was just Tiffany, Desi, Michaela, and Chanel, like, doing their own thing, and then leave Michelle and the two Alyssas off to the side.
I get it, but I feel like because Alyssa L, who had an amazing run at these vets, these episodes too, I feel like they also kind of needed her too for Blue Team. They needed somebody on Blue Team because she was the only person, and then Alyssa S. So they needed some kind of leverage on that team too for what they need to push for some things. So they were mostly all spread out too. So I liked how they were all working together but spread out and influencing their different teams in their different ways. And then Johnny tells Corey that the Rickies are coming for them. And Corey's like, yeah, I'm listening to this, but my number one is Fessy, but I don't mind working with Bananas and Wes, but I'm keeping them at a distance. And this is like Corey's taste at being with the vets again, But we've known every season that he's been on, like he's inclined to work with newer people to get them out as well. So I like how he is at the middle, but he's also always going to be at the bottom of that vets totem pole.
I mean, it's Corey. He's not gonna move up in ranks, and it is what it is with Corey. Like he always plays the same game. Bananas was not wrong in how Corey plays his game. Like Corey plays the same way all the freaking time, and he gets the same results all the freaking time. So I wasn't too mad at in whenever Banana was doing his little screaming fest and hissy fit. He wasn't wrong about Corey, but you know.
And then Holly said he was in a good headspace after his break from the show. And he had an awakening of sorts. And he went to therapy and tried to really think about things about himself internally and tried to fix that. And he's still learning and growing. So props to him for the growth and bringing a different side of himself on the show.
I don't care about Paulie's rebrand. I'm sorry. Like it just went right over my head. I don't care.
And then we go to the daily challenge, and it is called Capsized, where teams must swim to a boat and overturn it to view and memorize an answer key that has 20 flags on it on the underside. And players will then swim to the 8 buoys to collect flags underneath before recreating the answer key on the boat surface. And once complete, the teams will need to swim back to the dock in order to stop their time. And the team with the most correctly done flags and the fastest time will win this daily. And so we have it in 3 heats, obviously, for we start off with Team Red Flag. And Tiffany needed help immediately. She cannot swim. She can't memorize things. She can't do endurance. And this was not the challenge for her.
I love Tiffany, but this is one of my only plights when people come on the show, especially Black people. Like, you know, you're gonna have to swim. So at some point, you may just want to take some swimming lessons and get it over with to try to pick it up a little bit. You don't have to be Michael Phelps, but you do have to be some sort of a competent swimmer. And so it was just like, all right, girl, whatever. But she was not the only one. But I will just say, because we have the stereotype of not being able to swim, it's kind of just like it blows my mind when I see Black people on the show, and I'm like, bro, like, of course.
Yeah, like people like had to like learn throughout their time on the show how to swim. It took Nelson a while, took Leroy a while. So it's a common theme that needs to be debunked. But other people who are on this cast that are Black have been killing it with swimming. So we'll leave it at that. But for strategy for the team, Michelle, Bananas, and Polly are the memory group, which Michelle had a bad error, which costed them in the end. They're actually doing well with strategy and communicating, but because of Michelle's mistake in not remembering one of the flags, that made them go back and that made them lose some time. And they managed to fix it, went back to the dock, time stopped. And then we get into the blue team where they're memorizing the flags and blocks, which had 5 of the girls, well, not 5. The girls were doing 5 blocks each, and that really helped them and really helped with the quickness for that team.
Yeah, I mean, I whatever for Michelle. I don't have anything for Michelle. I like every time she's like something about Michelle just does not sit right with me. I'm just like, of course you would forget everything. But in terms of just them getting it together and trying to get the flags on, onto the boat or whatever. I mean, they did a pretty good job of communicating and trying to like stay together and keep it, one band, one sound kind of vibes and not just be sporadic and all over the place. Even in Michelle's hiccup, like they were all still trying to work together and no one really freaked out because we see how easily it can be where people freak out on teams and, kind of just go to shit. So I'm glad that they did stay together. They worked well together, but just would it be enough time is a question for that team.
Yeah. And then Green Team went, and Amanda also hitched a ride on a fellow teammate in West. And they had no strategy, just vibes. And at one point, the current just flew them over. And they did manage to finish out those flags, and they did go back to the dock. But that team was just very chaotic and unhinged. And it was very kind of uncharacteristic for people who were on that team.
Yeah, I just think that they didn't have any cohesive strategy, and that was their problem. And even after seeing how the red team went, I think that one of the things when you don't go first is you can kind of learn from the people who go first to see what to do and what not to do. And they just did whatever they wanted to do. And that was the problem for them. So it is uncharacteristic for that team, especially with someone strategic as West. There was Desi. There was a couple of people on that team that kind of can just take control of a group and lead, and nobody did that. So that was interesting to see in the long run. But I think after last week and seeing how West really doesn't have control of the team in general, it's kind of not surprising, to be honest, that nobody was just following anyone.
Yeah. And in the end, the green team had 19 flags, and it was really just between the red and blue teams. But the blue team came up on top with their time being 36 minutes and 12 seconds, and the red teams, time being 43 minutes and 18 seconds. So blue team wins, and they have to nominate a man and woman for elimination.
Once again, the blue team wins. I'm not super stoked. Don't really care, but I think for Tori, her being a target, it's good for her game to kind of stay in the game and not being on the chopping block. But I think seeing how they kind of navigated the voting and who they were gonna go for, that's where it got a little tricky, and the tables kind of turned on Tori a little bit.
And I loved every moment of that. But before we got to their nominations, Alyssa L and Corey had a side conversation, and Alyssa was really aiming to work in a line of Corey, because everyone knows like he was bottom of the vets and he wanted to take control of the team and make some moves. But Corey said he was not trying to go down on the sinking ship with the vets, and he just wanted his hands clean of anything that he would do. So yeah.
That never happens. I just don't know why he would even think that his hands would be clean. Like, and Corey does this every single time. Like, he aligns with either rookies or other alliances because he already knows that he's not at the top of anyone's list. So it's just like, bro, whatever floats your boat, I guess, Corey.
Yeah. And so the blue team had the nominations, and Alyssa said the vibe in the house was that it was time for a guy elimination. Tori said how last week happened with John A was a direct shot at her. I wrote in my notes, girl, shut up. I really want to say, be so fucking for real.
She is for real. That's the problem. Tori thinks everything is about her. We don't have to go through this, but Tori always thinks everything is about her. She is clearly the main character in her world, which is completely fine, but we live in reality where other people exist. We don't give a shit about this girl. So it's like, honestly, I'm not surprised, but I am happy that Alyssa and Fessel he was trying to hold his laughter in when Alyssa kind of read her down a little bit, and I was here for it too. But Alyssa was just like, girl, it's not about you. We wanted John A out. Let's move on. What are we going to do now? And I kind of like that, even though Alyssa could be a little sketchy. I think just her standing up, just not even for herself, but the team in general, to be like, all right, girl, we're not about to hear your what was me story. So anyway, we're going to move on to the vote that we have today. Girl, deal with your own problems on your own time. Like, don't bring it to the class. Deal with it on your own time.
Yeah, I will say because I had watched a little bit of Derek Fraser and Tiffany's podcast with Alyssa today, recapping the episode, and she did say she did lie. She was like, "Yeah, we were trying to get you out too, but because it was both of y'all, hey, Johnny is also a threat. So I'm gonna say, hey, Johnny, we want her out too." So Alyssa said she lied, but she was right to lie because she had to try and flip it. So in that moment when she did say, "Don't take it personally," I was like, "You ate that." I'm like, I'll give her props because Tori did need a talking to.
For sure.
So, like you said, Alyssa been on with the business at hand. Said, "I'm with that said." After she said her little spiel, she was like, "I'm looking for bananas." And Corey threw out Monty's name, but most of the consensus for the group was bananas. And then the girl vote was kind of really individual, how people were feeling. Um, and in the votes when they were going through each other, Fessy ended up putting his vote on bananas, obviously. And then he voted for Michelle. And I wrote not a stray because of their old situation, but I just had to say that.
Yeah. I mean, he was just burning his vote, to be honest. And who else better to put it on than her, I guess.
Yeah. And so with the votes were mostly between Bananas and Monty, the women's vote was all over the place. With a vote for Desi, Amanda had the most votes, Michelle got her stray vote, Tiffany got a vote, but they came to a conclusion, and it was going to be Bananas who got 6 votes, and Amanda got 4 votes. So Tori just had to save herself. Like, girl, you're on your own on this team. Just save yourself. Don't worry about nobody else. And that's always been her issue. But let's not dive into that.
Please.
And we go to Bananas the start of his tantrum. Like, he is going at Corey, who had a hoarse voice. I don't know what the heck was wrong with Corey, but he had a hoarse ass voice.
Yeah, Corey was not well. I don't like he couldn't even fight back. Like it was hard to listen because he was like, "What do you mean, bananas?" Like he sounded like Doc Rivers a little bit. I'm just like, "Where's your voice? Like, what's going on here?" It was so confusing because it was just like Corey went from having a voice to having no voice, and I'm just like, okay, coach. Like, sure.
Yeah. And then after Bananas goes at Corey, Bananas also goes at Fessy. It's like, and what about you? What are you doing? Fessy's like way back chilling, like, I'm tired of your shit, man. Basically. He's like, he's like, I'm not trying to entertain this old man. Like, you doing a hissy fit for what? That was just Fessy's energy. Like, laid back, I'm like, I'm not trying to entertain you, but I will yell at you. So
Yeah, I mean, Fessy's not going to just stand down to Bananas, but I think that in Bananas' whole, you know, spewing of whatever, he literally was just trying to just throw shots at anyone because he felt like no one had his back, which they didn't. They never will. Like, I feel like he wants people to clearly just do what Dusty does, which is just slurp him. Like, we don't got time for people deriding. Like, come on now. This is a lot here. Yes, you're a 7-time champion. Yes, you whatever, 22 seasons, all of that. You should obviously know how the game is going to be played. And you are not the majority. I think that's what he's now realizing in his thick receding skull is that he's no longer the majority, and he literally has to deal with the fact that there's more players, there's more rookies and alliances that are going to just get him out of here as quickly as possible. Like, that's just the bottom line. So like him just literally standing in the kitchen talking, and he's like, the only people I have is Paulie and Dusty. And it's like, those the 2 people you want to hitch your little wagon to. Cool, but that's just saying something in the long run for who you really have in the house, which is no one.
he was really trying to like throw a pity party. I'm like, bro, why do you need a pity party? You are a 7-time champion. Of course, you're public enemy number 1 all the time. Nobody wants to see you in a final Granted, it is at this point in his career, it's easier because he's not going to win. But you have a reputation that precedes you. You are going to be at the top of the list to get out all the time. You got to deal with it. Are you being sensitive?
Yeah. Who knows? But I just thought the pity party was just insane. And for him to just throw things at other people, I'm glad that a lot of people just didn't engage and they kind of just let him talk and did whatever, because it really didn't like need to be anything that needed attention.
Yeah, while he was talking, they were doing that little classical music, and I was like, this is just get cute a little violin. That's all he needed was that little violin, because I'm like, this is a woe is me story, and you need that violin with you because nobody cares. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, nobody cares.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. He don't care.
And so, but also like right after he did that spiel, Dusty called him his hero. Y'all the same age. And I'm gonna circle back to Dusty in the next episode, but y'all the same age. Grow up.
It's not that they're the same age. Okay. He's just a fan. And the part of being a fan is being a fanatic, which means that you're just irrational in how you even view the person. And I think that the D riding, I don't want to be super crass here, but the D riding was crazy from Dusty. And I was just like, at every single confessional he had, it got worse and worse. And I just want to Dusty, you have a family at home. Like, I'm sure you got somebody to go back home to. If not, you have parents. If not, you have family members. Just please have some pride when you are on TV. Like, you don't have to do all of that. Like, that was just crazy to me. And it got progressively worse, which is what was just insane.
Yeah. I'm like, this is who they chose from Amazing Race to come on the show. We have a better group on the first season. But they gave us this old man who is a fanboy at 50 years old, and then Lewis, who just kept getting thrown in the rocker the whole time. I like Lewis, but
yeah, I'm not shading Lewis. I'm not even shading Dusty in terms of his gameplay. It's this aspect of it where you're literally just going to Pound Town. Like, you're just slurping it up. Like, what are you doing here? Like, what's happening?
He's Drake at every NBA game, basically. And every day in this house. Every day he's in his house of bananas, he is Drake next to insert NBA player.
I didn't say that, Drake. I love you so much. If you want to give me a Birkin bag, I'm here. I didn't say that. Just want to let you know. Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Listen, we not acting like we need to see that clip of Drake just handing out Birkin bags at his concert. Like, please, Drake. I didn't say anything. I think you're a fantastic artist. I think you're amazing. You know, you've changed the way that hip hop has been for the past 10 to 15 years. Keep doing your thing. Love you so much. If you want to give me a Birkin bag, I don't want to say my address, but just contact me.
And that is a word from an Aubrey Angel. Now, the green team. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I had to say that. I'm like, listen, I know I have qualms with that man, but hey, we gonna call a spade because he stayed with somebody on the team. He stayed courtside in the locker room, in the film room. That's Dusty this whole time with bananas. I'm surprised they weren't roommates. If they weren't roommates already. So
it's okay. We're gonna move on. But Drake.
All right, so The green team aimed their vote for either Polly or Josh to get one of them out. Also, people really thought, I don't know, do you think that either Polly or Josh will be the ones to take out Bananas?
No. And I don't know who even thought that Josh would be a viable person to, or Paulie, to be honest. Like, Paulie could hold his own, but do I think, just straight up asking if I'm think going Paulie and Bananas, I'm going Bananas. Like, it is, yeah, it's not a really a question.
And then what is Josh's elimination record? 1-5 or something like that. Like that man cannot win elimination to save his life. And y'all saying that he could take out Bananas? I get it. It's strategy wise, it is also kind of dismantling the red team, because if you throw in one of them, you're getting out Bananas. But put one of them in, one of them might not come back. So hey, that is a good strategy and it fits. But when they said that, I'm like, have we not seen how Josh has performed in nations before? Have we not seen how Polly has done at times? Did we not see that World of the Worlds final? I'm just saying. The red team, they went to spread their vote towards Monty and Tyler. Them two, I feel like everybody is really trying to pit Monty and Tyler in at any chance they get, because Monty had mad votes these last two episodes. I'm like, dang, y'all really see this man as a threat. I'm like, I get it. But
I don't think they see him as a threat. I just think that they see him as somebody who needs to leave. Like, it's I'm for me, I don't feel like it's neither here nor there with Monty, as in like he's a threat to the game and he's shown like he's such a great competitor and blah blah blah. I just think that he's a number that can go. Like, he's like collateral damage. It is what it is.
And like, no, I don't like that man. Like, I just think, like, in the sense of this game, like, some of them thought of him as a threat, and some of them just like, oh, he's a rookie, let's just get him out. That's the mindset. I'm like, but just throwing him in the hopper at every chance they got. I'm like, y'all really have it out for this man. In an ideal world, I'm here for it, But in this, I'm like, okay, y'all doing a little bit too much. But it's the game. And now Bananas have a confession moment for a pep talk before the arena. I like how they are implementing this like new little aspect of the confessional cam, for people to go and like just talk to themselves or to the camera, to whoever. I like that aspect that they're giving us, aside from the confessional interviews that we get that are filmed way afterwards. I like the in the moment ones too.
Yeah, I don't have a preference. It is what it is. But I think with Desi's confessional was kind of like more opening up and just her being able to express herself in the moment, and then not in front of everyone, at the same time. So that was nice to see. But as for this other fool, I don't care.
Yeah. So we go to the arena, and the blue team's nominations come out, and Bananas and Amanda. We get into the Hopper vote. Josh got 2, Tally got 3, Chanel got 1, Paulie got 3, and Monty got 5. However, the Hopper does this thing, and it chooses Paulie as the guy to go in. And Polly and Bananas are playing Fire and Ice, where they will stand on a block of ice with one hand raised above their head, and it's connected to a bucket full of fish guts that will spill if their hand moves. Throughout the elimination, they will throw beanbags at a target to ignite a flame that will be under their ice to melt it. And the last player standing will win and stay in the game. they were both not missing their target, so they really like ignited that flame really quickly. It was just down to Polly's last bag, but he missed it. But it just took just under an hour or so for this last man standing part to go. And I was really like having mad props for Polly for like having that mental fortitude to like really hold it.
Yeah, I mean, he stood his own, especially at that last moment where the beanbag literally he missed after he was knocking them down and they were getting the fire under each other. And he really did hold his own up until the last moment. I really didn't get a clear indication of how much he moved for his arm to like kind of, push the fish guts down. I don't know if he slipped a little bit with, because they were saying that the ice was, coming off because of the fire, and he lost like about 2 inches, and that the way that the ice was melting, it was kind of on a slope. I mean, I blinked and missed how he kind of messed up. But at the same time, Paulie did do very well given the circumstances that he was under. And I think just for him and his sake, as he was leaving, it just gave him a vote of confidence, even though we got the Paulie redemption arc. Not necessarily what I wanted to see, but I'm pretty sure he's going to come back and he's going to get another call. And so, I mean, that's what ultimately he wanted. So,
Yeah. So in the end, bananas win, and the bananas had the decision to defect, and that was such a cliffhanger decision for the next episode. In episode 4, we see that bananas chose to defect to blue and swapped with Corey. Um, and D-Ball will stay loyal to him because he gave left him a note in his bag in the event that he left. And that was the most cringe letter I've ever heard.
yeah, Dusty lost me with this one. Like, get off your knees, brother, and have some pride. Like, why are you even going so hard for somebody that you barely even know? Like, I get he's a fan of the show, and even early on when we previewed it last week, I was like, you know what, Dusty watching the show is a great thing for him because you know what he's getting himself into. He understands the ins and out, how to play politically and socially. Like, even though he's in it, he's getting a chance to kind of live out a dream that he's had with watching the show. Great, fine, and dandy. But going literally riding so hard from bananas for you to actually leave a note for what a note is crazy to me. Like, you couldn't tell this man like, yo, love your work, cool, and just keep it moving. Like, that's really all you had to say. Like, I appreciate the time you was here with me. Okay, cool. I'm all for here for giving people their flowers and their props when you respect them in the time being, when you see them. But you do not have to go so far as to where he went. Like, he went to another level that was really like, it was like swarm levels of crazy. Like, he would do anything for Johnny. And it's like, you can relax. Like, it's literally just Johnny Bananas. Like, this is where it's like, I don't want to sound like I'm just degrading Bananas because he's been on TV for the past 20 plus years. But come on now.
This is a regular man. I don't care that this man has been on TV for how long. This is a regular ass man who has no actual influence in the greater good of America or life.
You don't think he could be president? What do you mean? We voted
No,
one we voted one reality TV star. You don't think we can have another?
no, I don't want.
You don't
No,
think
no,
he could
no,
be the
no.
bridge? I'm completely joking. I don't think he could be the fucking like the gravel on the floor. Honestly, I'm just joking, but still.
I can't. No, I can't see him doing anything in politics. That man. Well, no, I can because he is fake. There are some politicians that are fake, i.e., that man in Florida. Um, but bananas. Like you have these rose-colored glasses over your eyes, and you are really acting a fool, a plum fool over this man who you literally just met. Like I said, they about the same age. And I get it, you was a fan. But tone that shit down. I'm sorry. Like, this has gotten to the point where it's like, listen, I'm below you. Sir, you have no allegiances. Oh, wait. Yeah, because look what happens in this episode. You have nobody.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into whatever his allegiances at was later on, but for just for this, like for other people who come on the show and you watch the show or you like, support these people, just like tone it down. I feel like the line of showing respect is one thing, but then there's a line of literally just like being someone's I just don't want to degrade Dusty because I thought Dusty was cool. And then he did this weirdo shit and he lost me. Like it's just a line that you just don't need to cross, and he definitely crossed it, leaving a note in this man's bag. Like you can like hit him up after the fact and be like, yo, nice seeing you, love your work. I mean, like, it was nice being on the same team with you, love the show. Like you could have said anything after the fact. It's really blowing mind that he left him a note in his bag. What was he gonna do with the note? Frame it?
Did he want him autographed it? I don't know. But we move, okay? Brilliantis is now on blue team. Corey is now on the red team. And Josh is pissed that either Lewis or Desi voted for him. And he proceeds to throw a fit as well in a group setting. And I'm just like, bro, be so serious right now. Well, wait, no, he can't be serious. It was just a lot.
Josh is someone who needs to hear himself talk. Like he can't sit in silence. He can't, stew in everybody, look around, everybody is on mute. Like he'll be the one idiot that'll be screaming in the background when people say shut up and mute. You know what I mean? So it's just like that whole situation with him in the living room, it really was just annoying.
Like you, it was unbearable. And Lewis's reaction, he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "What are we in?" But this is Josh's moment. We'll just let him sit in it. It is what it is. What it is. And then we go to Desi's confessional cam and how she really used it to talk to herself to like really get through some of her own mental hurdles that she has in the moment on the show currently. Like she wanted her brain to match what others expect from her, and she was really worried about her performance in the game. Then we saw her cry to Tiffany and Chanel about her feelings, and she really talked it out with them. And she was like, "I don't think I can keep up," but Chanel told her like, "People think you're a threat. Like you're dope. You're cool. You got this."
I mean, I appreciate Desi being open and transparent about what she was going through because I feel like deep down everyone goes through like imposter syndrome on some kind of level. And I think that for Desi to open and be vulnerable, just not even in the game itself, but she felt this way in just her life in general and how she, is in her relationships and her job and whatever. I think that Desi comes across very confident in who she is and what she does and how she moves. And so for her to be as vulnerable as she was in that moment, I really appreciate her opening up. And I, agree with Chanel. Like people see her as a viable threat, which is the reason why at every single chance that they get, they'll try to take her out or take out somebody that is close to her so that they can have the opportunity to weaken her. But I think that over time, as it always shown, like she just kind of just rebounds and gets back to what she needs to be doing. So uh I thought the moment was great with Desi and what she was saying and just her crying and speaking out about that things because sometimes we see people like Desi who has it put together and looks like they have it put together, but they really don't in their mind mentally, and that's always a hurdle that's more hurtful than anything rather than what we see.
Yeah. It's always like really just mind over matter, but also just like just taking that moment to reflect and just like instill some more confidence in yourself, and like she knows like she has like the confidence she just has to like just push through some of those negative thoughts. But she does it a lot. Like she's been prevailing thus far. Like we saw her last season get underwhelmed like out because of a partner. But she came back. She's like, I want to like see this through. And she's been doing well so far, not only with her strategy, but like just performing in the challenges. Like last season, we didn't see her as much do a lot of strategy of like social game as wise, but because she had like a lot of people in Survivor who were doing a lot, and were more so the faces of that alliance. But seeing her now really take charge and like really come into the season of like, I'm going to really push forward my own social game, my strategy, and just show off. Like, I'm glad that she really did also like share her truth, because like we need that more on the show. Like that's what makes you a challenger. You got to be vulnerable, be strong at times, and just be you. And she's been doing that. And so, with that, we go to the daily challenge, and it is called Sideswiped, where two at a time, players will have to swing to opposite trucks to place their respective team targets on the side of the trucks, as they drive at a crazy speed. And this will be done in 6 rounds, and a team with the most disc at the end will win. And TJ also does announce that this week will be a double elimination, which is crazy like at this point, but hey.
Yeah, super early on that this double elimination, but the more the merrier. Double elimination, double episodes, like get through it.
Yeah. And so in round 1, we have Wes and Amanda versus Josh and Michelle. I just love how there's so many parallels with this first round, because Wes and Josh have a um pseudo weird relationship, because when Josh had his power trip on Total Madness and he was trying to like spook Wes, and Wes was like, you know, I'm about to do that to me. And then obviously Amanda and Michelle, this matchup was to me funny. But the girls were very excited, obviously, because of their issues. And Josh ended up dropping 2 discs. Amanda dropped a lot, which meant that the red team had 11 discs, and the green started also out with 9 discs. And then in round 2, we had Chanel and Corey against Alyssa S and Chris. And Chris was playing defensive Corey at one point. Um, and he got the Brandon Knight treatment. And I just had to laugh.
Oh yeah, he did get baptized by Corey, which is saying something because I don't know how he missed, like how he missed the block, but Corey literally just went over his head and put the disc up, and it was over for him. And I just think, first of all, Chris, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. I mean, it's been 4 episodes, so welcome. And yeah, welcome to the party. Enjoy your block. Enjoy Corey's armpit, because you had a handful.
A big handful. After round 2, the red team had 13. Well, from that round, they had 13. Blue had 10. So at that point, the red team had 24. The green team had 9, and blue had 10. And then in round 3, we had Cassidy and Sebastian versus Michaela and Lewis. And Cassidy immediately dropped hers and went into defense mode and flopped. And I'm like, y'all going to defense and flopping? That's funny to me. Like, y'all don't got that in y'all to try and do that. but good try. And then they finished that round with Green having 15, Blue had 11. So at that point, both Red and Green had 24 discs, and Blue had 21. Round 4 was Tiffany and Dusty versus Desi and Tyler. Green ended up getting 14 more, which gave them 38 after round 4. Desi and Tyler got 10, which gave Red 34. I mean, sorry, I flipped that. I'm so sorry. They were just neck and neck with one another. I would just say that. The round 5 was Chanel and Corey. They ended up getting 14 discs, which gave their total to 48. And Alyssa Lopez and Fessy got 12, which gave Blue 33. And in round 6, Chris had the bright idea to say, hey, now that we know, like, Green and Red are very neck and neck, let's do defense on Green in this next round to just give Red the win and not let Green win.
Which has been done before, but I just think it was so corny that they even went this route, and it just showed that they really felt like they couldn't beat them like straight up one-on-one. And even though like it's good to have strategy sometimes and implement it, just try to win by any means necessary, I just think that the strategy was corny. I really felt like it shouldn't have been allowed, but even though it was, it just was like crazy to see. But I would say, Michaela, if I ever get into a little fight, I'm gonna bring the chair and you gonna bring the hair pulling ma, because she went straight at Tori and was tugging on the ponytail. And I was here for it. Tori looked back at her and said, "No hair pulling." But Michaela was like, "If you're not gonna move, then I'm gonna do what I need to do." And I respect it. Like, Michaela is one of those who this season, I love every single moment of her energy, her vibe on the show, wherever she is. Because even before they started the challenge, she looked at Wes. Wes was like, she something Wes said, and she was just like, Wes was like, "I'm on their side," and she was like, "I've heard otherwise." Like, she don't care. She's gonna say it up straight in your face. Like, she's just gonna say whatever she needs to say. And I can respect that from Michaela, because sometimes people kind of, hide behind what they do, but Michaela's straight up. And when she pulled Tori's hair, I said, "Oh yeah, you could be when I if I ever get down and I need somebody to call, like, I'm gonna bring the chair. Michaela gonna bring her hands. She gonna pull some hair."
I'll bring something as well. Michaela, in my moment, was like, she's so mean. I in that moment identified with her. I'm like, if you in the way, I'm gonna take action. You just in the way. I'm so sorry. Like, excuse me. I grab that ponytail. You gonna get moved. It was literally like, in my mind now. This came to me. It was literally, well, Michaela took action, but in, I think it was Black Panther or Civil War. It was Civil War. Ao, one of them, Dora Milaje, told Natasha, "Move, or you'll be moved." Tori moves and got moved. So I enjoyed the moment. Everybody on Twitter enjoyed that moment because Tori is the real enemy for loving it.
She's definitely a public enemy number one. But Michaela, girl, and honestly, there really wasn't anything that she could do momentum wise other than kick her. Like, I was thinking, if I was in that challenge and I had to push myself and use the momentum off to the other one, if I'm not turning my body towards the other truck, I'm just gonna start throwing legs. Like, I'm just gonna start doing whatever, because clearly, if you're not moving, you're gonna be moved, like you said. And so I was all here for it, because by any means necessary. I just think that it was whack, it was corny. Y'all couldn't beat them one-on-one, which is like probably the worst thing. And then y'all were boasting and bragging about it. Like, if you're gonna do something, like, try to beat me one-on-one rather than team up and click up on some kind of gang. That was just weird.
Yeah. And when Bananas immediately dropped his, Monty was like, "Oh, it's on." But afterwards, Monty was very pissed. And And I had to agree with that man. And I was like, oh, English Monty is pissed. And I'm like, this is funny because it really was weird. I'm like, I get it. Y'all don't want me to win. But I'm like, Chris, you got like half your team, most of y'all team is Ricky's too. I'm like, so y'all can't mobilize y'all own selves because y'all got to run behind Tori. But you mad that the green team is outrunning their vet? That's hilarious. So, yeah. In the end, the green team ended up with 41 discs. The red team had 48. So the red team was given a win by blue. Um, and they have to vote for a man and woman to go into a nation, and the rest of the teams will vote on people who vote for Hopper. TJ will then pull 2 names from Hopper in the arena. And then we go to the red girls having a chat with Michaela, and they're really pushing. Okay, we're gonna push for Amanda to be our vote, while the guys are gonna try and push for Desi, but we're gonna really try and push hard for Amanda. And the guys' choice for ladies were like, hey, let's either go for Lewis or Wes. And after that, Josh talks to his people, and he said, hey, I'm gonna go in this deliberation and try to stalemate. And he was willing to really try and push for Desi and Lewis. But I'm like, if you were trying to stalemate, you should not try and do that. That's dumb. Because you don't know what's going to happen.
It's also Josh, and I think that when we seen it early last season with Sarah causing a stalemate to happen, or something, some version of that, and they saw how it went, then you kind of see how the game is being played. But I think that he wasn't even doing it for strategic purposes. He was doing it because he was being selfish and just one-minded, and he just wanted Lewis and Desi, and that was just going to be the end all be all, and so be it. And so it's Josh. I really can't take anything much of it, but I think that the way he went about it was just like super sassy. Like what grown man is yelling and talking the way that he is to a group
To
of women?
women.
Because once they sat down, and it's literally a group of women in front of him that he's trying to express this to, and they're literally like, all right, listen, we hear you, but we're really not feeling you, so let's move on. And he kept going, and it was just really just like, bro, this is why I'm not here for him to even be on TV. This is why I don't want to see him, because I just feel like he just brings his energy, and he thinks in some way, shape, or form in his warped mind that it's okay, and it's really not. And he just kept going on and on, like going crazy to women. Like, yeah.
And like he was like trying his hardest to not get Amanda to go in. Meanwhile, so I'm like, I feel like, okay, in this, I'll get to this nomination real quick though. They immediately pulled Blue off the table because they gave him a solid. Michelle pitched Amanda. Josh pitched Debbie. And the girls were immediately like, that's a no. And it just ended up in ultimate chaos because of Josh, obviously. And Josh was like, can y'all beat Desi in a final? And then Chanel flipped it and reversed it on him. He's like, do you want to run a final with Amanda? And I'm like, hey, I'd rather take Desi in the final over Amanda. Granted, Amanda has some of her strengths and things. I'd lose with pride to Desi.
I feel like anyone would. I don't think that's not a fair question. I feel like Chanel was valid in her reasoning, not only because she wanted to pick Desi, but because, yeah, you don't want to run a final with Amanda because you're not going to win. At the end of this needs to be one woman and one man splitting 500K. So whatever you need to do to get that 250, like, you're going to do it. And I think that because everyone was just so one-track minded, like, it kind of just stalled in what the ultimate goal was, which was to have 2 nominations. Now, what got me was Tiffany folded first. And even though she tried to flip it on Michelle and make it seem like, oh, because Michelle voted for West and she didn't vote for Lewis, like that fucked up the plan. It was like, nah, sis, you threw the first punch by saying somebody else's name when you should have just said nobody, or you should have just said Amanda. Like, to be honest, you could have really just solved it right there and then and not say Desi, because she was the ultimate vote. Like, it was already, 2-2, and your vote was the tiebreaker. So it was just kind of like, all right, Tiff, like, I see you. But at the end of the day, Tiffany was trying to save herself. But I just didn't like the fact that she kind of just came back and automatically threw it on Michelle. Like, if she was the first person to throw the punch, and it wasn't really that, it was her.
I think because there are rumblings of some sort of something happening between her and Josh. I think when he looked at her, she acquiesced.
Meaning her and Josh's relationship made her change her mind and kind of went with Desi because she really is rolling with Josh because of Big Brother and not with the Secret Garden Alliance.
No, not that reasoning, but something else.
Do you want to say it?
Big Brother.
I'm fucking lost. What is it?
No, it was rumblings that they were getting cozy together. That's what it was. Not Big Brother.
Megan.
I love Tiff. But that threw me off when I heard it. And to see how he looked at her.
That'll throw anybody off, because how does he look at her, Megan?
No, how he looked at her when she had to make that vote. He looked like, you better say something. I was like, hold on. Like, I know she's not. I'm like, why are you trying to be scared of this man? This is Josh.
I'm not buying that. Because who's buying that, Josh? I don't care what they showed us on TV that season with him and Esther was hooking up. I don't care what they try to tell us. But please, Josh is more on Paulie's side than he is on Tiffany's side. Let's just say that and move on.
All right, let's move on. On the guys' vote, Corey voted Lewis. Chanel wanted Wes, but she was willing to compromise on the West vote if they didn't choose, or if they did choose Desi. I think that was what she wanted to do. And then Josh was like, I don't want to throw this win that we have on Amanda going in over Desi. And he was still getting buck. And while Josh was doing his little show, Corey was very amused. He was like, he's really giving himself a whole hole to dig himself in. Like, this is hilarious. Because he was just utterly confused and shocked.
I mean, I feel like everyone was, because at one point Chanel was just like this. Like, she kind of just gave a little like, what is he doing? Like, for real. Like, it didn't have to get that deep. It didn't have to get that serious. All the whole standing up, banging on the table, let them think. All that was really unnecessary. And it just really was just how Josh is, which is probably part of the problem. Like, he's really just intense.
Yeah. So in the end, Tiffany burned her vote on Cassie. That's what the vote she did for the ladies. But Desi was the girl name for the group. And then with the guy vote, Michelle messed up by saying Lewis's name, but Lewis had an ally on this team who did not say Nana word. Dusty was mute this whole time, and I'm like, Lewis, this your man's. This man cannot save you in this deliberation. And I was like, bro, Dusty is only loyal to Bananas at this point, because I beg.
I mean, Dusty tried in the slightest. He had good points. What the points were, I forgot. But he did have a good point saying, like, yo, they gave us the win. So honestly, like, it's kind of like the best interest for, long term what to do in terms of that team now that Bananas is on that team. But at the same time, I just think that he wasn't in a season with Lewis. Like, I don't think they ran their seasons together. I think it was separate. So for that point, it was just like, okay, they did Amazing Race together. What next? Like that was really the only thing that was holding those two together. And so it's not really much to stand on. Like, it's something, but it's two people against 10, 15 other people. So how much weight is Dusty really holding like that? 0 to none. Just like Lewis is. So I just think that not too much on Dusty as far as the voting comes, but the other stuff, the weirdo aspect of it, like, we gonna get on you, brother, because that's crazy.
And Michelle messed up by saying that Lewis did say her name. So Lewis had 3 votes, and Chanel was pissed at both Michelle and Tiff for voting. And I'm like, I'm with you, Chanel. I'm with you. So I'm like, these people are weak in the knees. And I'm like, y'all need to stand up.
Nah, Chanel got it. I will say though, Chanel did show that she is very loyal and she will stand on whatever she's saying. Like, I really respect that about that Chanel, what she was doing, because she really was trying to hold it down. Like, we came with a plan, we came with a mission. We're not gonna vote for Desi. We're not gonna vote for Lewis, and she stuck to it. Everybody else, they flip folded, washed and dried it. I don't know what they was doing, some other things, but shout out to Chanel.
Yeah. And the Secret Garden at this point is a bit of a mess. Desi is crying because of how the vote went. And Michelle's like, I'm stuck on who said my name. I'm looking out for myself. And I'm like, ma'am, you had a plan. You couldn't stick to it. That's your fault. Like, who cares who said your name? Anyways, but I will say, even though Tiffany burned her vote on Cassie, she didn't say Desi's name. I think also Michelle didn't say Desi's name either. It was mainly the guys, and then that's how Desi got in, because the guys all voted for her. And Chanel and Michelle voted for somebody else, for Amanda, and then Tiffany just burned her vote on Cassidy.
That's not an excuse, but okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just, that's how it broke down. I'm like, y'all couldn't flip anybody. But anyways, the green team had a meeting, and Wes spilled the beans that it was Chris who made that bad defensive strategy, and not Bananas. So the green team was like, hey, we're gonna vote in Chris. And Desi was like, oh, I want to have Cassidy as the person I go against. However, she told people in her team, not named Wes, that she wanted Amanda. And so I was like, applause. I like how she was like, I like Wes, he's my teammate, but this man, if I tell him what I want to do, he's gonna go run and tell somebody. And I'm like, good on her. So they got what they wanted in the sense of the Secret Garden, because Debbie told the girls what she wanted. She told her team what she wanted. She just about got it.
Yes, she did. I feel like ultimately her strategy and not showing her cards too early, even though she got information that was good in terms of what Chris did, her not showing her cards is like, she's still in this game to play, even though she's had doubts about herself and how she was moving. I feel like she ultimately is just standing up to know what she has to do, which is play her cards correctly and know who her actual alliance is and how she really needs to play this game. So she got what she wanted in the long run, which is what I was rooting for. I'm always going to root for Desi and whatever she's doing.
Same. So we go to the arena. The red team's picks end up being Desi and Lewis. The Hopper votes were divided among a lot of people. Tyler got 3 votes. Sebastian got 1. Wes got 2. Monty got 2. Bananas got 1. Chris got 6 of the guys. Michaela got 4 votes. Cassidy got 2 votes. And Amanda had 9 votes. Now, when they showed the votes on that screen, TJ was even shocked. He was like, oh, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah, my poor sister Amanda, she thought she was kind of in the clear a little bit. She really didn't know what was going on, and they got her. Like, they got her good. So it was like, all right, Amanda, now's your time to shine.
Yeah. And Wes was blindsided by this, like, oh, they just did this. I was like, I thought we were voting for Cassidy. Well, nope. You got played, Barbara. So, the Hopper chose Amanda and Chris, and they are playing against Eddie and Lewis and Evil Eye, which is a take on a game they've played before. It's just a different thing in the middle. And they basically will fight for possession of the eye, and if they end up out of the rope with it, they will win. And in the first round, it was the guys, and this is a former footballer in Chris and a active firefighter in Lewis, and they were tussling. It was a good little matchup.
I I was definitely rooting for Lewis just because he didn't really have anyone that was supporting him, and I think that after what Chris did in that whole coup to get the green team a loss, it was just like I don't care for him. So I was rooting for Lewis, and I think that they were evenly kind of matched up physically, but ultimately it was rough for Lewis. Like,
Yeah.
he kind of lost his footing, and once he did, he couldn't really grab onto Chris, and Chris was already gone. So it was kind of just damn, like, next time maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Chris ended up winning. Let's got out of bounds. And then we got to Amanda and Desi. I wrote in my notes, this is Crappy Do versus Survivor Barbie. And
I could see it.
because like Amanda's a little scrappy little person, you know? And it's Desi, you know, like she's a Survivor champ. She got it. Like, and she's beautiful. That is a beautiful black woman. So yeah. It was I thought it would have been an easy win for Desi, but because Amanda is scrappy, she was gonna claw her way and make it a little bit difficult. But
And what she did, and Amanda did have a good showing, even though she lost. Like, she did have a good showing ultimately in how she played, and what she was doing in terms of just staying on the floor, trying to stay down, trying to hold her own against Desi. And you know, it was one little move, and Desi got it and literally just ran. But Amanda was holding her own for a very long time. I think longer than a lot of people were going to give her credit for. And I think a lot of people up that were watching were like, damn, like, Amanda's like, really standing strong, which it's a reason. Somebody said it's a reason why Amanda has been on for so many seasons. I think it was Wes, but like, it's a reason Amanda has been on for so many seasons, and continuously gets called back. Like, Amanda, even though she brings drama and other kind of input on the game, she's still going to fight and play as hard as she can, and by any means.
yeah, my chaotic fave, love her. Um, but with that, Chris and Desi, they win their rounds, and they both have decisions to make whether to stay on their respective teams or defect to another team. Chris decided to stay with the blue team, and Desi decided to swap to blue as well, and she swapped with Alyssa Snyder. And that's how we end the episode.
Yeah, I'm happy for Desi to get on another team, kind of infiltrate that unseasoned team. but I'm happy that she has removed herself from the other team just because it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. And Blue has been winning a lot, so she's a strong competitor. I'm sure that now with her being on that team, that it's going to get more interested in, how the gameplay is. And it's a little lopsided now because Green lost 2 players.
Yeah. Green lost 2, and Red has still not like 6 at this point, so they're still shorthanded as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into the tweets from these 2 episodes. And the first tweet comes from Chanel, and she was like, "Dusty, you could have saved your friend, but she wanted to be a follower because he didn't." As much as like you said, they weren't like on the same season, but they had a camaraderie for another. And like y'all came in by yourselves together. Y'all could stuck together, Dusty. But he decided just not to. He just wavered and just decided to stick with his guns and with the banana.
Yeah. Just weirdo behavior.
Yeah. Speaking of weirdo behavior, if Johnny Banana's underwear goes missing from his luggage, you know who has it.
That's a fact. I feel like he definitely was given Fatal Attraction vibes. Like he'd do anything to be in the presence of Banana again. And it's just, as a man, why?
At your big age.
It doesn't matter
That's
what age it is, young or old. Because I don't give a fuck how old you are. If you're a fan, like a weirdo fan, like you're still a weirdo. I'm sorry. Like it's just, it's some levels that we gotta just be like, all right, what's going on up here that you really acting like this about somebody? Let's relax.
Yeah. The next tweet is Tori calling Alyssa L a confessional gangster on social media. Baby, she read you to your face.
She did. She did. She
Because,
did what she did.
yeah. Because Tori's a confessional gangster. If you want to call a spade, she's not going to say that to nobody's face.
That's facts.
So you're talking about yourself. I'm sorry. Like, and as much as like Alyssa annoyed me on her Big Brother season and annoyed me with that little shtick plan her and Derek X did last season on season 1, I like her because she is want to be honest and a little bit conniving. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So yeah. The last tweet that I have is going to be. Dang it, I lost it. This is from Amanda. A lot of laughing. Yeah, Michaela, grab those crusty extensions. Rip them out, sis. I'm rewinding 10 times. Hold on.
Not the crusty extensions. Amanda is a key, okay? She is funny. And even though she's no longer on the show for this season, I hope that she still live tweets a little bit and gives, her reaction to things because she is always funny. But definitely was rooting for Michaela to rip that ponytail off of that girl's helmet and get some action going. Because why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. Like, someone's like, oh, Tori's about to be a Karen and grad to production.
She almost did. I feel like she really almost did. Because she was just like, hey, no hair pulling. It was just like, this is by any means. Like, either you cut your hair off or put it in a bun.
You chose your fate. You was like, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to sit here and try and defend you. Babes, you just sat there and did nothing. So, of course, she's going to move you by your ponytail. You got what you deserved. I'm sorry. So
That's
that's it.
facts.
And that's all the tweets from these last episodes.
It definitely was an interesting two-parter this week in terms of how things played out and people switching teams and alliances and, unfolding in front of us. But I think there's another twist that's supposed to be coming up soon again. So I want to see how that unfolds in the upcoming weeks. And I think at least having these first 2 weeks, we've already been down half of the season so far. So literally with the first 2 weeks being done, we're already 4 episodes down, which is great in my book. But yeah, I'm excited to see next week, and we'll be back to talk more about the challenge. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can at Dual Lines Pod. You can follow Megan's at Megs and Hines. You can follow myself at Ace_S5. And you can follow us on YouTube if you're listening to this at Dual Lines Podcast. And we'll be back again, like I said, next week to discuss episodes 5 and 6 of the Challenge USA on CBS. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a great week. Bye.
Bye.